Greetings, everyone. How is everyone doing on this fine Monday? So, I wanted to draw something before I do my assignments. Glad you're doing okay? Have fun, Ford. But for anyone who's been on Twitter, there's recently been a trend of people drawing Hatsune Miku as if she was from, like, other countries. And I kind of wanted to do that, but there's already an American Miku. So the artist slash voice actor slash funny Tumblr man, PM Seymour, they did an upstate New York Miku. So I decided, why not make my own state Miku? You know, from my area. AKA the East Coast, the coastal plain, the Tidewater. So yeah. And that's why I'm making her a mermaid, because one of the cities who's here is well known for all the mermaid statues that you can pretty much find everywhere. And I mean everywhere. And it's also by, you know, the ocean, so, yeah. Yeah, dang indeed. So that's the first gesture. And that is kind of based on, like, the pose of these, you know, mermaids. Also, as I was looking at them, well, as I was researching, I found this mermaid. So I don't recognize all of the countries, but I believe this is Germany. There's, of course, the United Kingdom, the United States for the hair, Canada for the face. Oh, and also, is that Belgium? I don't know. But this is what it looks like from behind, and there's the map for Turkey. I believe that is Norway, that is Spain. Wait, no, I think this is Norway. I got it wrong. Yeah, that's Norway, and that's Greece. And I think that's Italy. Yeah, it is a nice statue. But I think I'm going to try another kind of like gesture. But yeah. I thought I heard something. It's probably a plane. And I also have V5 Miku up here. I couldn't download the picture because it's a WebMD, aka objectively one of the worst file types, you know, to download. But a pretty good one for, you know, websites. So I just had to take a screenshot. Which, luckily, I could do pretty easily. But yeah. That's kind of what I'm doing today. Drawing Tidewater Miku. And I might make this Miku a little pudgy. Because, yeah, art. I might make this Miku a little pudgy because, one of the things about, like, living in the water, mermaids will probably not be, like, super duper skinny. Like, especially in, like, the north, like, it's closer to the poles that you get, the more likely you're going to have, like, some sort of blubber or, like, fat to, like, help with, you know, heat regulation and making sure you stay warm. Luckily, as a plus-size girly, I feel like I can be up to the task. Yeah. Part of me wanted to make this like a collaboration with another streamer that I know, who is actually one of my oofies. I met him through Kodig. Yeah. I wanted to challenge him to make like the land version while I make the sea version. But honestly, I can probably just do the sea Miku and challenge the greater internet to make the land version. Is there a cat meowing from loneliness? Is that the gatito I hear meowing from loneliness? Was it the Mimir? So, here's the first gesture that I made. Kind of like based off the, you know, posing of the statues, you know, the mermaid statues. And then there's this one, which I feel is a little more, yeah, a little more characteristic of like a Miku. Actually, hold on. I could probably, like, make this a side profile. Then, Also, I did take an Adderall, but it is my quick release one, which I have, like, on my desk. In a funny little container. But actually, I'm probably going to go with this Miku. No, this little gesture. Wait, no. I'm probably going to also give her, like, you know, little pointy ears. Just kind of make her look more mermaidy. So I'm making this little shoulder thing kind of long because, you know, blubber. There we go. So... Hold on. Okay, I'm back. There was a cat being a menace. A little menace to society. Well, a menace to the curtains. That one looks like Miku's sitting. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of see it. Yeah. Apparently, my cat Bennett, who's kind of been becoming a menace in his later years, who was doing his little tail twitchy thing, pretending he was interested in seeing something outside. And after my mom looked down for a little bit, he started peeing on the curtains. Like a little menace. He was being a goddamn menace. Actually, hold on. Okay. Let's save. Yeah, I have no kitty. Also, I like to mention that I've never really drawn mermaids before. This is really my first time drawing a mermaid. So yeah, it might not be the best, but will at least be as good as I can make it with, you know, my knowledge. You think I'm doing good so far? Well, thank you. But yeah. I might try and do like some sort of like foreshortening. Actually, I could probably like do it like this. Actually, hold on. Okay, save again. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bigger. So, kind of like a gesture for the hair. I'm gonna make her hair a little curly. Also, I'd like to mention that I've also never drawn Hatsune Miku. Until now. Also, this is probably going to be the one drawing that I'm going to post to Instagram because a lot of the people I follow and follow me on there, as of right now, I've known since high school. So, yeah. I have no idea how many of them are actually going to see the post. Or they're probably going to see a notification saying, "Look, this person you haven't spoken to since high school has posted for the first time in several years." And behold! Hatsune Miku. Actually, hold on. Hold on. I'm going to try some foreshortening. Which is something I don't really do that much. Surprisingly. Like, I've been told that I'm pretty good at anatomy based on, like, you know, the time that I, like, posted. Like, the one cropped photo I posted during one of my class intros. Like last week, someone complimented my blending and stuff, which makes me very happy. And even though I did sort of forget about the watermark, like I kind of forgot about the watermark. So they probably can like figure, once they realize what the name is, they could probably find me. But if you recognize me, you don't. So one, 2, 3, 4. I'm probably also going to make add some webbing, you know, to the Miku. Might make it a little translucent. To kind of like make sure everything is somewhat visible. And I might do an intermission in a little bit. But that's kind of mostly to like recuperate a little bit. And because my eyes are also getting a little dry. And I still have not finished the Bubble Tea Lesbians. I'm still kind of waiting, you know, to finish those. Like, the main thing I need to do is, like, run them through Nightshade and Glaze. Now, let's do this. You know, make sure everything's in perspective. And I know these kind of look like bananas right now, but they will eventually take shape into fingers. But yeah. Also, you know what I can do now? You know what I can do? That's right, baby! I can zoom in on y'all. Look at me. Look at me. Why do I look kind of droopy? Anyway. I'm going to shake myself. Anyway. Let's work on this even more. But yeah, I can now zoom in and just stare at y'all. But I probably need to, like, improve my tracking a bit. So I'd like to mention that there is a teensy bit of webbing, you know, on our fingers. You know, as like humans, in terms of like our anatomy. But it isn't like a lot. We still are not as aerodynamic as a lobster. Honestly, I kind of like this little perspective thingy that I did. Also, like, last week, I went to Target. He's the Target, aka Target, and They did not have a lot of Halloween stuff. They did not. They were still back to school stuff. But there were like little bits of Halloween stuff. Like, you know, candies and like spooky goldfish packaging. The goldfish did not change. I feel betrayed at the lack of goldfish changing. But they did have like a little some stuff remaining for like college dorms, including this little ottoman that you can put stuff in. And they had one in black. So I bought it. Well, actually, my mom technically bought it, but it's in my room right now. I can put my legs on it. And also, I replaced my chair. I forgot to mention it. At least I think I forgot to mention it. But yeah, I was borrowing my mom's chair for a while, which I had to help my dad replace the wheels because the wheels stopped working. Struggling to draw two things. Well, depending on how long it takes, you might possibly need a brain break. Or you might need to use references. Like, that's one of the main things. And also, I was kind of struggling to find, like, references for, you know, what fashion to kind of, like, use for this Miku. And honestly, I am not going to randomly stalk my former high school classmates' profiles. That would be a little weird. I'm not going to do that for the sake of references. If I wanted to, I would probably ask them. I probably should have asked them beforehand if they could, you know, give me some, like, fashion references for the Virginian Miku. But nope. I'm going to inflict this on them at the very last minute. Also, I've been playing a lot of Harvestella a while, you know, over the weekend. Which, I do have some beef with the game. Like, the main thing is, like, some of the models, the clothing clips into the model whenever they're walking. And I noticed this a lot with a certain character that I'm not going to mention because that is spoiler territory for the third chapter. Let's just say that the fabric that is in front of her thighs do not move while she is walking. Like, that sort of stuff and the lack of, you know, like, expressions and stuff make it not feel like a $60 game. Like, the game is $60. Yet it sort of feels cheap. It feels cheaper than that. I mean, I probably shouldn't expect much from a Square Enix game. But even Atelier has more expressions. Hold on. And this came out 2 years ago. Like, of course, this is the people that published, you know, Final Fantasy, so of course it does have Final Fantasy elements. But I really wish they had more expressions for the characters, like in their actual models and not just their portrait sprites. Like, I wish they did that sort of stuff. Like, maybe I probably need to, like, put a review in. Also, hold on. I have 14 hours in Harvestella! And a lot of it came from last night. Like, I was mostly playing it this weekend because I probably should have been doing my assignments anyway, because there's one that I need to do by before tomorrow, because that's when I have my Zoom class. And also, I have to purchase a fucking access key for my other class. I have to purchase an access key. A fucking access key. God dang it. Yeah, I do. I mean, the class I have tomorrow is only like 7 weeks and we're on week 2. So I have like 5 more weeks. Hope stress doesn't kill me. It won't. I've been through worse. It's better than having one sensory overload per quarter back in my senior year of high school. Which pretty much all of them were in one class! Which was the senior project class. And part of it was because my classmates kept goofing the fuck off. I'm still mad about it. Even though it has been like 2 years. And actually getting close to 3. Since I was in high school. Actually, I've technically been streaming for like... I've been streaming since like 2022. 2022. So technically I've been streaming for like 3 years? Probably? Like I started streaming in July of 2022. Like after I graduated because, you know, boredom. You know, keeping myself occupied. With, you know, something consistent. So that I could like have some sort of semblance of a schedule. To kind of like help me with, you know, transitioning to college. Yeah, 3 years. And I'm still not an affiliate. Which kind of sucks, but hopefully before my next semester, or like before I transfer to a 4-year college, I can, you know, get to affiliate. I mean, at least I didn't like extremely blow up around the time that I started. Like, I did not get that lucky. And besides, I'd probably feel really bad if I was like at either affiliate or partner and I have to take a very long hiatus because I have to focus on college. Which, when I graduate, like, I plan on transferring to a 4-year school so I can, you know, focus on my major. But after that, I'm probably going to try and, like, push for, you know, I'm probably going to try and, you know, work on, possible merch. There's a manufacturer I plan on, like, using to make, like, pins and stuff. However, I'm not going to do, like, enamel pins because I don't want to bother with figuring out the Pantones. I don't want to purchase the fucking Pantone book, like, right now. But there's this manufacturer. They're called Vograce. And they have these photodome pins. And basically, they are printed designs, unlike enamel, which are like filled in. And they're usually covered with an epoxy dome for like durability reasons. And they can do gradients and stuff. Like shading and gradients you can do with, photodome pins. And they come from 1 inch or 25.4 millimeters to 2.75 inches or 70 millimeters. You might get one. Yeah. But that is, of course, but the big thing I need to do is actually design the pins. Like, I might start off with stickers because those are probably like the cheapest thing that I can make. And of course, I'm probably going to like do Ko-fi for, that stuff at first before I like try to expand into another online shop or like try to purchase a domain. For example, like, I'm not going to like get to, I'm not going to try and like keep it simple, at least at the start. I might do prints and yeah, you're gonna try drawing an apple? Okay, yeah. It's always good to start with something simple. Like fruit. In fact, a lot of artists, like especially way back when, used to draw fruit. And in fact, those paintings can be used to show how certain fruits have changed over time. Like watermelon. Because watermelon used to look very different. Like, this painting from the Renaissance. This is how watermelons used to look like. They look different now. And this is from the 1600s, by the way. This painting is from the 1600s, so like 400 years ago. That shows how different watermelons used to be. Like 400 years of breeding, watermelons to change them. Yeah, no hollowed spaces. Well, technically there's more rind. The rind used to be like way more prevalent. And there used to be like sections of the watermelon. But now, pretty much the entire inside is red. Sometimes seeded, some don't have seeds. But yeah. But yeah, that's kind of like how watermelons used to look like. But yeah. Okay, image material. Is there any, like, water? Are there, like, any water or textures here? Nope. So, I'm going to start off with the face. Make the upper lash kind of thick to, like, kind of, like, base it on, like, you know, this here. And I'm, of course, going to give her a little eyelash wing. And I'm going to give her a more defined nose, because that's kind of like what my style is like. I like to kind of define the noses a little more. Also, I'm probably going to do like an intermission in a little bit because the soundtrack is going to end in like, the background music here is going to end in like 7 minutes. I'm going to make her eyebrows a little thick. But yeah. Once I'm kind of at the point where I feel like I can like stop and work on something else, I'll probably like do probably some character designing. Because there's a few characters that I have some ideas to draw. Like, kind of like some sort of idea as how to draw them. And these are, of course, original characters that I'm referring to. And the main thing is like, the main thing I'm going to try and do is like give them like somewhat unique noses. Like, I'm going to try and learn how to draw other types of noses in my style. Like, there's one artist who is a Transformers artist. Very predictable of me to say, I know. But he draws a lot of hooked noses. For anyone wondering, the artist is Alex Mill, otherwise known as Marco Guru on Twitter. But yeah, he draws a lot of characters with hooked noses. And I'm not sure if it's like a stylistic thing, because for some of the characters, like I believe Ratchet, the noses are kind of kept. Hold on. There's a character I want to reference from Harvestella. Can I save this as a PNG? Nope. WebP. Can I? Nope. Well. I'm probably going to like reference this as closely as I can. Unfortunately, it is kind of like zoomed out on my screen. But that's not gonna stop me now, is it? It won't really stop me. Wait, I actually do have some seashells. Like, I've had them for like a decade. Like a very long time. I actually might do an intermission, grab them so I can reference them, and then like do a little brain break for me. Actually, no, I think I'm going to do what I originally planned. For like the ears. Okay, let's check the line art. Looks pretty good so far. I'm gonna add some little things here. Yeah, that looks way better. Also, I'm going to make this a little more blue. Okay, the sauna is done now. I'm going to go do my intermission and grab my, see if I can find my seashells, and yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I located my seashells. So, I think I'm going to just plop some colors down here. I believe here, like eye color. Okay. Actually, hold on. Canvas properties. Let's do that. So I have my little seashells over here. I've had this little fishnet bag full of them for years. So yeah, I've kind of been debating as to what I should do with them. With all these shells. But I think I can just like use them as kind of like a reference. For this little illustration that I have of Mermaid Miku. In fact, I'm probably going to make like the inside of Miku's mouth, the same color as, her hair. Or I could, hold on, additional color set. Yeah, that seems good. Also, I would have done like a Harvestella stream, but given how hyperfixated I got, y'all are probably gonna end up being kind of lost. Because, I kind of progressed in the story. Quite too far enough for me to like really stream it. Because y'all will be lost as to what in the world I'm doing. So okay. Okay, transfer. Now, I'm going to... Yeah. You hath returned indeed. You finished the apple. Nice. You gonna send it? What? Actually, hold on. Yeah, I could look at it when I'm done. Yeah. Yeah, Harvestal is a game that I really like. I do enjoy the vibes, and the fact that you can also, like, make a non-binary character is, like, a very nice touch of, you know, representation. You know, for those who, you know, might not get that representation all that often. Also, I did accidentally change the language to French as I was trying to mess around with settings. But I was able to fix it. Also, I like to mention that right now my hair is like really curly. In fact, I actually have an image that, you know, if y'all don't mind the little immersion break. Also, I am in this drawing. I'm still in my. In this picture, I'm still in my pajamas. But behold my fuck-ass curls. Behold the curls. Like, I woke up, and when I went into the bath, when I looked at myself, I realized, holy shit, that's curls. Messy hair. I know. Fixed the hair. Well, I would, but I'm kind of lazy. And also, I kind of have a dandruff problem. Like, I've had that problem for years. But yeah, I've taken more selfies than I have in, like, my entire life. Which is to say, I almost never do selfies. And it's mostly because I've recently gotten curlier hair. And I feel really happy about it. Like, I'm really happy about the fact that my hair is now curly. And all I really did was, like, put in a leave-in conditioner by Curlsmith, and, like, my mom recently bought me a bonnet, and I wore that to bed. Yeah. Yeah, I probably need to, like, do more curl stuff. like have a proper curl routine like my mom has. And then my hair can be even curlier. Yeah, for sure. But yeah. That's the state of my curls. But yeah, I'm probably going to eventually post those pictures to the Discord. I'll probably post them to the Discord. Like, even though it is immersion breaky, I'm really proud of my curls. In fact, I might just make a toggle, like a hair toggle for my model where I just like make my hair super curly. But also, hello Togoroni. And also, I did figure out a way to like have my tracking camera and my hand cam camera on at the same time, which means I might be able to do cat cams if there were a cat in my window. But yeah. Also, I have 7TV installed, so we can do like several emojis now. Like, actually, hold on. Let me check. Let me check my chat at jail. Okay. We can do that. So yeah. Fuck. I accidentally did something with the soundtrack. But yeah. I have 7TV here now installed, so if y'all want to use some of the emojis that I made and like also added, you can do that. Of course, once I, finish my 2.0 model, I'm going to revamp all of my, emojis so that they, fit, the 2.0, and also add new ones. And like figure out how to on what? 7TV. Oh fuck. That was a global emote. And I'll just send the link. Okay, it's that. It's this. It's an extension for, Twitch that allows for like more possible emojis. And it allows for emojis, but custom emojis for when you aren't at affiliate. So yeah, you can like install that, and then you can kind of see like some of the new emotes. So yeah. And unfortunately, it's like completely free. Like, costs no money at all. Unless you like subscribe to it. Which I don't plan on doing. But yeah. I am of course going to probably like add more emotes to that. Yeah. Basically you kind of have to like, it says you got it in your emotes. You basically just, so in the chat there's a 7TV button, and then you can like you can click on, you know, the emotes. And then you can like click on whichever one you have. Okay. So, yeah. And of course, the main 7TV icon is where you can like just have some emote, the emotes that I added, like this one. Press it, but it sends you to it. Then you might need to enable it. You know, enable it on Twitch, or you might need to download the extension and onto your browser. Like, you might need to also, like, you might need to, like, go to your extension, and it's on, you know, the creator dashboard thing, and then you might have to enable it there. But there is, you know, I plan on adding some more of the 7TV emojis. You know, later on. But yeah. It kind of all like depends. And it's probably like kind of complex. So you got the extension, but when you open it, it only opens like 2% of it. Eh, then you might need to do like some configurations. Oof, tangents. But yeah. It will, of course, take a bit to set everything up. But hopefully, once everything is set up, you can have fun. But of course, on, my stream chat overlay, the 7TV emotes do not work. So, they do show up as, the emotes in, the chat had overlay. But in, in the chat box on stream, but they don't show up, on, my little overlay that I use to perceive y'all. But it does work. I can assure y'all of that at the very least. So, I probably need to like work on, other stuff as well. Like, first I have to do my assignment. And once those are out of the way, I can, have some me time and like hyperfixate on Harvestella for like several hours. But yeah. I don't know how long I'm going to take on this Miku. But I know I'm probably going to end the stream in like an hour and a half. So that I can, get started on something that I need to do for my class for tomorrow. Like, I know I have to do that. And for anyone wondering about the whole heart thing, there's this kind of slogan for Virginia that is Virginia is for lovers. And nobody really understands it. Like, why for lovers? Who knows? But I'm probably going to, like... kind of like... make it a little very frilly, because that's kind of what I think of, like, you know, she's kind of meant to be like a sea mermaid. And I think of frills like kind of like as a reference to shells, almost. At least when it comes to this little design. But yeah. Once it reaches like 3 or 4 p.m. my time, I'm going to end stream and try and, you know, get started on some of the things that I need to do before tomorrow. So yeah. I'll eventually fix the, you know, all the stuff that kind of needs to be fixed. Like, eventually I'll, like, add more curls. Because, honestly, if anyone here really knows me and my art style, I can't really help myself when it comes to, like, adding curls. Like, it's kind of my obligation. Like, as a curly-haired girly. To kind of, like, add curls to, like, everything that I can. Everything and everyone. Of course, I'm probably going to, like, add these little frills and stuff. And, like, kind of, like, reference these, like, you know, the colors. But, yeah. Actually, no. Hmm. 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 Okay, I'm going to do another intermission since I kind of need to like go to the bathroom. So I'll be back. So, I went to the kitchen to throw away my water bottle. And, I went for my dad that my grandma's probably gonna die soon. So, I'm not going to have just one, but 2 family deaths in it before the end of the year. Whoop-de-doo. So, yeah. Bad timing aside, at least it's like, I don't have to, like, travel. Like, I don't have to travel on a plane for the funeral. Like I did, like, several months ago when my great-grandpa died. But, like, I'm honestly surprised that my grandma has been alive for this long. Like, it's very surprising given, you know, all of her disorders and stuff. But despite all that, she lived. So, yeah. So, Mama was probably gonna die. But at least I don't have to go that far for the funeral. But yeah. So that kind of puts a dent into my plans for, like, you know, just ending stream and, like, immediately, like, working on assignments. Blah. Wrong layer. Actually, I think I'm going to end stream here so that I can, you know, go visit my grandma, say my last goodbyes, and then work on my assignments and possibly this art later. I don't know when I'm going to stream next. Probably going to be sometime next month in October. Or whenever I just have nothing else to really do on the day. So, yeah. I'll return someday. I have no idea if my next stream is going to be after my hiatus ends, or if there's going to be like some other day that I won't have anything to do, that I could just stream. But yeah. I'm going to go leave. Bye, y'all.